Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Facts Only video. Today is huge news. I call it breaking news, critical news. I'm going to show you some video clips. I'm going to take you inside Russian mobilization, but most importantly, we're going to talk about the fact that Russia is escalating this war in Ukraine. There is no question, there is no doubt. They are pushing the right buttons, and I'm going to explain to you how they are doing it and the process that Vladimir Putin and Sergei Lavrov is using to push the right buttons. So guys, thank you for being here. This is a facts only video. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, all of those things. We appreciate each and every one of you, especially big thanks to our moderators. Here we go, guys. Let's take a peek right now. First of all, we know that Andrei Yermak has been in the United States for a couple of days with meetings. He's met with different leaders in both houses, the Senate. He's met with leaders of the House. He has also met with transition team members from Donald Trump's incoming administration. You can see the bottom left. There are lots of pictures there. The bottom left there, he's shaking hands with Mitch McConnell. There was Kellogg. There was all kind of people. So guys, here's the deal. Yermak's statement, 2 days of meetings in the USA with key people of the Trump team as well as business circles. Quote from Yermak. Second quote from Yermak. So far, no contracts and nothing public, but we have a gentleman's agreement. Folks, this goes right into line with the things that even Volodymyr Zelensky said after he met with Donald Trump. He goes, listen, just wait till January. We'll see what happens then. But Zelensky said, I have a good feeling about this. We have to take it for what it is, and only time will tell. But Yermak coming back from the United States saying very similar things. What happens next? We get Jake Sullivan, and I'm not saying these are connected all, but they're happening in succession. Senior Biden aide commits to giving Ukraine avalanche of military assistance. White House gains last-minute strategy to bolster Ukraine. Of course, this is before the Trump administration comes in, including $20 billion in loans and sweeping sanctions on Russia. Ukraine will receive new weapons from the United States by the middle of January next year, basically in about 4, 5, or 6 weeks. 4 to 5 weeks, I guess more accurately. The aid package will include hundreds of thousands of shells, thousands of rockets, and hundreds of armored vehicles. We know that the United States also has already delivered a lot of anti-personnel mine systems to stop the Russian advancement on these front lines. So a big push coming in. And you may say, well, I thought you're talking about the Russian escalation of this war. Oh, I am. But this also very important and very supportive for Ukraine. Now, let's talk about the Russian escalation. I want you guys to understand something about Kremlin mentality, Vladimir Putin mentality, and how they operate. If you have noticed, you have seen Vladimir Putin going around and he talks to world leaders. For example, today he was in Belarus with Lukashenko, and we have some huge news on that I'll share with you in just a moment. Additionally, he went and he met with Kim Jong-un. He will then go and have his meetings with BRICS or other associations that he is the leader and head of. He speaks in this grandiose terms, but when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of war, he doesn't talk about it. He makes these grandiose statements. He meets with his generals. He does what he does. But when it comes to talking to the world, this is the guy he uses, Sergei Lavrov, his foreign minister. In that authoritarian dictatorship government there in the Kremlin, it is Sergei Lavrov's job to talk openly to the world. This is why he had the interview with Tucker Carlson. It's interesting about, the freedmen wanting to come to talk to Putin. I'm not sure that will ever happen, but we'll see, because Putin does what Putin wants to do. Lavrov is the one that talks to the world. So now we're hearing more. In fact, there was a huge warning this morning that another Oreshnik hazelnut missile had been fired into Ukraine. It was not, but there was a big strike on Kryvyi Rog this morning, and we've had some significant damage and casualties there. In Kryvyi Rog, it was not an Oreshnik, but they thought another Oreshnik was coming at the initial launch. Speaking of the Oreshnik, we're going to talk about that and Vladimir Putin and Lukashenko in just a moment. But Sergei Lavrov comes out, makes this statement about the Oreshnik, and it's no big deal. It's no problem because the United States knows everything we do.
We have this channel that automatically activates when a ballistic missile launch occurs. Regarding the Oreshnik, a hypersonic mid-range ballistic missile, 30 minutes beforehand, the system alerted the United States, ensuring they were aware of the situation and wouldn't mistake it for something more significant or truly dangerous.
Something more significant or truly dangerous. Yeah, if it had been loaded, it would have been unbelievably devastating, not only to Ukraine, but to the entire world. It would have changed the world in a millisecond. Oh, we have this system. The U.S. knows, no problem. If it had been more dangerous or it had been a problem, the U.S. would have known. You see, this is how they talk. This is how Lavrov talks. He talks down. You know, we just were talking on the live stream last night about Lavrov going to the OSCE, the security meetings for Europe, waxing eloquent and speaking and throwing his jargon around. Do you see what is happening? Russia is escalating this war, not only militarily, but also publicly through their propaganda, through open meetings, through places that they are now invited to come. That's the first time that Lavrov had been in the European Union since the war, this hot phase of the war, ground invasion, February 2022. It's unbelievable what is happening. Guys, from the Russian viewpoint, that is escalation. So what happens after the escalation? Well, then Russia begins to determine their points of negotiation. Guys, this is so logical, what we are witnessing and what we are seeing. They want to be the ones that put out the terms for negotiation. So Sergei Lavrov dropped the points that Russia would potentially agree to. Conditions for peace negotiations coming from Lavrov that the Russian Federation can agree to. Number one, Ukraine without NATO, period. Not in 10 years, not in 5 years, not tomorrow. Lack of Western military bases and exercises involving foreign troops. Basically, Ukraine is made completely impotent, demilitarized, and no military agreements. Addition of the 4 new regions to the Russian Federation, once again showing their lunacy, because according to them, on their constitution, they already have Lugansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, Kherson, and of course, Crimea, they believe, is already theirs. But if it's on your books, why do we have to talk about the addition of the 4 new regions? I thought they're yours already. But once again, you have to understand this Soviet, we can call it, mindset. Third, public cancellation of Zelensky's decree prohibiting negotiations with Putin. Basically, that means stop demonizing Vladimir Putin. Let him talk, let him meet, let people come see him, let him see people, take away the ICC, International Criminal Court, all of those things. Return Vladimir Putin to the level of prominence and respect that he is so deserved. Do you see what's happening here? Additionally, abandonment of laws prohibiting the Russian language, culture, mass media, and Russian Orthodox Church. Yeah, welcome. It's Russia. It's not Ukraine, it's Russia. Fifth, Russia is ready to be among the countries that will provide security guarantees to Ukraine. I'm sure in his mind, the other nations would be Belarus, North Korea, and Iran. We will provide security guarantees to Ukraine. Guys, this is what is happening, and this is why I call it an escalation. Why? Because they're telling their position openly. You don't have to wonder. You don't have to doubt. These are the things they're looking for. In fact, they're so demented in their mind. They think this is absolutely right. And right now on this Facts Only video, I'm going to share with you a Lavrov statement, not translated, no voiceover, no subtitles. This is Lavrov speaking in English, talking about if Ukraine had not made a mistake during the revolution, everything would be okay. Check this out. Lavrov speaking English.
Had the coup in February 2014, had it not happened, and had the deal which was reached the day before between the then president and the opposition implemented, Ukraine would have stayed one piece by now with Crimea in it. It's absolutely clear. They did not deliver on the deal. Instead, they staged the coup.
There you got it. So number one, guys, I wanted to show you that so you can see him speaking English. Guys, the dude can speak English perfectly. So can Vladimir Putin. They have such an advantage over other world leaders, unless the other world leaders can speak Russian and read Russian and understand Russian. These guys can do it, and they flip right into English whenever they need to. And he's point blank speaking, elevating, escalating the war. If Ukraine had agreed to our agreements in 2014 with then an evil, corrupt president, Yanukovych, who had these agreements with Russia, and then he flew away. Remember, he was sitting on his golden toilet, and we're talking about Maidan and the revolution. If Ukraine had just stuck with the deal that we had negotiated an agreement, that deal that we had made the day before, then Ukraine would still be there. And there would be no problems, and they would still have Crimea. Do you see what is happening, guys? This is the escalation, not only militarily, but now they're pushing their political agenda. They're pushing their narrative of how to suppress Ukraine, take Ukraine off the map, back NATO up, back the EU up, back the USA up, and push their new world order and agenda to the world. It's so easy to see. Put on top of that, this is escalation. And I know people out there say, who cares about Belarus? Who cares about Belarus? Guys, Belarus is important. It borders Poland. Poland, just a few days ago, Donald Tusk coming out, standing by the fortifications, standing by the dragon's teeth that were on the border of Belarus and the border of Kaliningrad and the border of Ukraine, and standing, we are ready. We are defending and ready to defend our territory. This is what Lukashenko went, and he complained to Vladimir Putin. He said, Vova, guess what? They're building NATO troops and defensive fortifications on my border, on my Belarusian border. I am a partner with you. I am a friend with you, but these guys are coming in and now they're building up, and I'm concerned that there will be an attack on Belarus. So what happens? Vova Putin comes to Minsk. They have their meetings. They handshake. They confirm their one state, even though, yes, Belarus is its own nation and Lukashenko is the longest reigning dictator there in Europe, but he's really a Russian satellite. Vladimir Putin saying, we're one state, we're one cooperation, we're one people. Today, Russia and Belarus signed an agreement on the guarantees of mutual security within the framework of the cooperative union. Guys, this is now the second. This will not take ratification because this was signed president to president today and exchanged right there. So now you have the mutual agreement between Russia, North Korea, that was ratified on Wednesday, and now you have another mutual security pact and agreement that is ratified already between Vladimir Putin and Lukashenko, and even they're discussing the deployment of the Oreshnik, the hazelnut missile system, to Belarus by the mid to second half of 2025. And they even gloated about it. If we are to place the Oreshnik in Belarus, and then we double fire the Oreshniks, one from Russia and one from Belarus, it will be unstoppable. It doesn't have to be nuclear. It can be conventional, but when they work together, it will be devastating for wherever they land. This is the rhetoric. This is the escalation, not only happening militarily, but it's also happening through Sergei Lavrov and the narrative that he is pushing. Yes, guys, I stand behind the thumb title today, facts only. Russia escalates this war. Do not miss it. As I'm closing out this facts only, I wish you well. I will be departing for Nevada and California as soon as I hit the stop record. We'll be updating you with more facts only from the West Coast. And then I'll be back to PA here for a few weeks, and then I head to Ukraine, and we'll be fact only, living and all of that, sharing, supporting, and standing with Ukraine there inside the nation. I want to show you one last thing that you probably will not see anywhere else. Maybe you will. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of social media. I'm too busy doing what I do to stand with Ukraine and provide you guys information and translation and all of that. The inside story. Russian mobilization. They arrive at a construction site where migrants from Central Asia are toiling away. And this is the mobilizers from the Russian army. They line them up and announce an ultimatum. Sign a contract with the army of the terrorist federation in exchange for a Russian passport or be deported to your homeland. Now, I'm going to show you this video, and judging by the overwhelming response of the migrants, it's better for them to return home than to die in a meat assault a week later. Now, at the end of this video, the conscripting officer says, okay, let's just go home. So, that's all a show, and they're just going to take them and meat assault them anyway, which is most likely the truth. That was just for a show, to show their humanity, offering a contract, offering all these benefits, offering all this money. Guys, most likely they're packing them up, taking them right to military outfitting and sending them right to the front somewhere. That's most likely. But this is what happens. Take a peek and look at this mobilization.
Now, if you say you don't understand Russian, it's simple. To get Russian citizenship, you can sign a contract with the Defense Ministry. It lasts 1 to 5 years. After it ends, you get a Russian passport. You become a citizen. No work permits needed. You'll be in the combat zone, earning at least 210,000 rubles monthly. That's more than you make here. Free healthcare, resorts, veteran status. You get it, right? It's exciting. Any takers? Raise your hands. Come on, let's get some people. All right, let's head back home. We're done here.
It's just a show for you guys. Show for the world. All right, everything's good. We're doing our right thing. We're offering this to them. Resorts, healthcare, Russian passports, 210,000 rubles a month. You may ask, how much is that? About $2,100 today with the exchange rate, $2,000 a month. Any takers? No takers? All right, let's go home. Guys, it's just a show. They're loading those guys up and taking them right to the front. This is how Russia is doing it. And this is why I stand by many times when I say to folks, guys, they really haven't mobilized in Moscow and St. Pete and Rostov and the Kursk region and all these western regions. But it's coming. It's coming. A few days ago, I reported that they are now mobilizing strictly in Moscow. It is beginning, but they send so many Central Asians, North Koreans, Southeast Asians to the front, and they're killed. But this is the reality. So multiple ways today to look at it. Facts only. Russia escalating the war. United States promising big weapons coming by middle of January. Where do we go from here? No idea. But I can tell you one thing. The war is escalating, and we will stand with Ukraine. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your support. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. Turn that notification bell on. Constant content coming with these updates and also our lives and our work inside Ukraine. Thanks to our moderator team and all the guys that make this happen. You guys be blessed and have a great day.